You're watching Camnet News. Welcome to it. My name is Sharon Kalimbola. We look at the stories making headlines. Respectful debate essential for advancing democracy, USA. Chinese investors lock up Zambian workers for fear of bringing COVID-19 to the plant. Nakes refutes claims of suggesting closure of all schools. In international news, 5 killed in siege at South African church. In sports, Jordan 2010 took World Cup football knee off Africa's neck. We'll take a short break. We'll be back with the details.
Lusaka is here. We have you all covered with just 150 kwacha. You can advertise every day from 17 hours to 18 hours. For a 30-second ad, get the benefit of selling your products and services on Lusaka. For more details, call our marketing department on +260 953 995099 +260 962 444 726 or +260 971 177 467. Email us on info@camnettvafrica.com. Terms and conditions apply.
The details. Lusaka City Council LCC has continued to disinfect public places, especially markets, to prevent the continued spread of coronavirus. Council Public Relations Manager George Sichimba says this exercise will continue throughout the country in order to reduce the cases of COVID-19. Mr. Sichimba says City Market and other major markets in the city record high influx of people, hence the need for regular disinfection. We have the details in this report.
Lusaka City Council has continued its exercise of disinfecting public places in Zambia's capital city. According to a statement availed to the media, LCC Public Relations Manager George Sichimba says the exercise is aimed at preventing the spread of the coronavirus in Zambia. Sichimba says City Market and other major markets in the city record high influx of people, hence the need for regular disinfections.
Lusaka City Council today conducted the disinfection exercise at City Market. The exercise is a continuation of Lusaka City Council's efforts to disinfect public places. As you may be aware, the country is still recording cases of coronavirus, and so as Lusaka City Council will continue with the exercise of disinfecting public places. And we want to reiterate our call to members of the public and traders in Lusaka that coronavirus is still with us, and so let's continue observing the public health guidelines so that we prevent the spread of coronavirus. Again, this morning, the council also collected accumulated waste from Mnyaule Market adjacent to City Market and also cleaned the CBD. Again, let me take this opportunity to remind residents of Lusaka that they should supplement the efforts of Lusaka City Council in keeping our surroundings clean. Let's make sure that where we are operating from and our households are kept clean in order to avoid any diseases that may arise from the waste that we are keeping.
He says this is against the fact that the country has continued to record cases of the coronavirus and Lusaka is back again as the hotspot. Constance Mwemba reporting for Camnet TV News, Lusaka.
The National Action for Quality Education in Zambia, Nakes, has refuted reports by some sections of the media that it advised government to shut all schools until 2021. Nakes Media and Advocacy Director, Reverend Dyson Goma, has clarified that the organization only advised the government to close all primary and secondary schools until next year for non-examination classes. Meanwhile, Reverend Goma has emphasized the fact that the critical shortage of desks in almost all schools across the country have reached a crisis. He is therefore calling on the Ministry of General Education to urgently address the matter.
National Action for Quality Education in Zambia wishes to correct a very wrong impression that has been created by some article which has been seen to be trending in some sections of the media, purporting that the organization has advised government to close all the primary and secondary schools until 2021. To set the record straight, NACES has never advocated for another closure of all schools in the country. In fact, during a telephone interview, the NACES Executive Director, Mr. Aaron Chansa, did indicate to a reporter from Radio Phoenix that most schools in the country cannot accommodate non-examination classes due to shortage of desks. And that if government will not buy desks during this period of COVID-19, it will not be possible to have the non-examination classes come back in schools, as they will not have anywhere to sit due to physical distancing being observed in schools. We again wish to emphasize the fact that the critical shortage of desks in most schools across the country has reached crisis level and must urgently be addressed by the Minister of General Education. We cannot have a situation where learners are sitting on the floor while it's learning, as this, in our view, is going to greatly affect the delivery of quality education in a negative way.
The Zambia Revenue Authority Commissioner General Kingsley Chanda says the tax authority will now report its own members of staff to the law enforcement agencies if found abetting tax evasion or aiding smuggling. Speaking when he inspected several seized goods in Lusaka, the chief, Mr. Chanda, says the authority will no longer deal with its erring officers administratively as been before. He says everyone found wanting will be reported to the Drug Enforcement Commission, the Anti-Corruption Commission, and the police for them to be prosecuted. The Commissioner General revealed that the 3 officers who ACC arrested this week were actually reported by ZRA through an internal audit affairs unit. Meanwhile, Mr. Chanda has warned transporters who are in the habit of smuggling that the authority will not only seize goods, but that they should also expect to lose the trucks used in the process. Let's take a look at what the DG said.
Because they know when we catch them, we'll just find them and they will get out with it. We'll stop charging, we'll stop penalties. Instead, we'll continue with seizing and forfeiting. That way we feel that when the smugglers lose their goods and transporters lose their trucks, they will become more serious in dealing with ZRA. So this is unacceptable and will not be allowed to continue. And we are also aware, and let me be very honest here, we are also aware that these smuggling activities, in fact, most of them are facilitated by our officers. Okay? There is no way somebody can smuggle a truck as big as this through Chirundu without any of our officers knowing. So we have adopted a new approach. We will be reporting our officers to other law enforcement agencies such as DEC, SEC, and the police. We recently reported 3 of our own officers to SEC, and they have since been arrested.
3 women whose husbands have been locked up at Sinoma Cement have called for their release. The women from Chifwema area in Lusaka South have told Camnet TV that their husbands have been locked up for 7 months now without access to their families. We have the details in this report.
Because kunyumba tavutika tinka manyumba ya lenzi so manje palati wazambotipisha manyumba manje tizaenda kuti manyumba wakatipisha.
Some women in Chifwema in Lusaka South have asked Sinoma Cement, one of the largest cement producers in Zambia, to release their husbands out of where they are being kept.
Kutaka peva naenda mukati ati unabua matenda corona vanavavarira for 7 months tikamba ino month na 7 so kuchoka mu 7 months vakatiboti pasa ndirama ili yonse
tonavarira che mukati ati kuli coronavirus so mwandini tavutika kunkala chili bezimuna ise kuno bakafora ndirama mumuja mukati tikangwana ukuthi tidye mushe kulibe mwandini azimuna watu wanangena nkudala muja mukati bakwanisa ma 6 months siwa machoka mukati mwandini tavutika mwandini te bantu.
According to these women, it has been 7 months now since their husbands have been locked in the factory without allowing them to see their families. According to information on the ground, it is due to the coronavirus that they are being quarantined in this factory. These women say life has become difficult for them and their children without their husbands to provide for their needs. However, several attempts were made by this reporter to try and get in touch with management so we could understand exactly why these workers are being quarantined, but to no avail, as the chief security, only identified as Peter, a Chinese man, was not cooperative.
Without invitation, and recently we don't have any schedule for invite any media to come to our plant and all the premises.
We are carrying out a story on certain complaints from the people that you are keeping inside. That's why we need to talk to your HR.
I know the complaint. You mean get the complaint? Yes, we always hear this voice from the outside. I don't know. We must investigate. We must investigate. We must do survey, and then if we need, we will contact you. We will invite you. It's not like you can the force into. No, it's not a law like that. You know that. We have our own provision.
You accept that people have been complaining about that?
Huh?
Are you accepting that people have been complaining about that?
No, we must investigate which kind of a complaint.
The people you are keeping inside, the workers you are keeping inside, their wives are complaining. They want their husbands out. That's why we need to talk to you about this.
No, I think not now, because you are not the first media. We have a main media before. We already contact them, and we do the rotationally the shift to all our staff. How they get some complaint to the media.
These are some women who went to where their husbands were being kept to try and get money for food at the gate. Now, what is surprising is, even though COVID-19 cases are skyrocketing in Zambia, there seems to be a relaxation in the preventive measures, just like we saw the Minister of Health, Chitalu Chilufya, entertaining a large gathering at the Magistrate Court during his court appearance. The question these women are asking is it really necessary for their husbands to be locked up due to coronavirus? The sad part is, in our own land, we are subjected to this. Constance Mwemba reporting for Camnet TV News, Lusaka.
Touching story there. We can only hope that the authorities are watching and that they should take charge of the situation. Just now, we'll take a break. You're watching Camnet News. Join me shortly for more stories.
Stay home, stay safe. Times have changed. With the advent of the coronavirus, Lusaka Water Supply and Sanitation Company would like to advise its esteemed customers to avoid visiting crowded places. You don't have to move to pay your water bill. You can do it in the convenience of your home. You can pay your water bills through Zanaco Zapit, Stanbic Bank, Standard Chartered Bank, and FNB. You can also use Airtel, MTN, and Zamtel Kwacha mobile money transfer services. For any inquiries to report a fault, please contact our customer service on +260 211 251 571, +260 975 618 618, and toll-free line 5957, Zamtel only. You can also simply email customer service at lwsc.com. This public announcement is brought to you by the Lusaka Water Supply and Sanitation Company. Water is life. Sanitation is health.
Lusaka is here. We have you all covered with just 150 kwacha. You can advertise every day from 17 hours to 18 hours. For a 30-second ad, get the benefit of selling your products and services on Lusaka. For more details, call our marketing department on +260 953 995099 +260 962 444 726 or +260 971 177 467. Email us on info@camnettvafrica.com. Terms and conditions apply.
Welcome back. We continue with the news. Chukankata District Commissioner Peter Mwinde says President Edgar Lungu's developmental agenda must be commended by all Zambians as seen from the many projects both complete and under development. In an interview, Mr. Mwinde says President Lungu has done a lot of things in the country, which he says is a clear demonstration of good leadership. He says people should learn to appreciate good things and not critique everything. The District Commissioner also says Zambians should accord the head of state the respect he deserves as a father of the nation before anything else. Meanwhile, Mr. Mwinde has implored the media to be professional in their coverage of news and avoid propagating statements that have the potential to plunge the country into chaos.
Dr. Edgar Chabarungu. Therefore, we don't expect media houses to feel trouble or confusion, because whatever you say yourselves, people take it as gospel truth. So we want media houses who are professional. When you write something, when you say something, it must have facts behind. Not to fear trouble among the Zambian people. No. We have a president in the State House who is governing very well. And Zambia has developed over time. Therefore, when you say media, to me, you are friendly to me. I like media, but I don't like people who are subjective. You know, constructive criticism takes account of good things. If you say, you DC Mwindi, you are well dressed, or you are not well dressed, at least say something that will be holistic. If the tie is not good, say the tie is not good. Not starting from shoes is bad, the trousers is bad. Now which one is good? Even the politicians, when you are criticizing government, be objective. That's what I'm saying. Be objective. Say good things that your friend has done. Like now President Lungu has done a lot of things in this country. I'm not turning into a politician, but what I'm saying, sometimes I hear a lot of comments which are negative. It's a human being. We want Zambia to grow to heights. We'll meet there where
United States Ambassador to Zambia, David Young, says respectful debate is essential for advancing democracy. Mr. Young notes with sadness that Zambian government has on some occasions infringed on the freedom of speech for its citizens for merely pointing out government wrongs. The diplomat says people should be allowed to critique government and other senior government officials respectively because it is within the right of freedom of expression. Meanwhile, Mr. Young says it is regrettable that political party cadres are left to barge in and interrupt a media house because an opposition party is being interviewed. He says this behavior should not be condoned, urging government to guard and improve the rights of the freedom of expression in the country. This is according to a USA Weekly Voice mini documentary done on Zambia on Saturday.
It is unfortunate in Zambia today that it is frowned upon to say anything critical about senior government leaders or problems in government without risking being censored or even threatened with arrest. Some people say if you criticize the president, you are unpatriotic. One leader in the National Assembly said government and party cadres should break the bones of its critics. That is inflammatory and not a peaceful exercise of freedom of speech. For me, freedom of speech needs to take place in the context of peaceful expression. If party cadres break into a radio station because the host is interviewing an opposition leader, that is a violation of freedom of speech. If media outlets that feature opposition and critical voices are closed, That is not freedom of speech. And when the Public Order Act is unevenly applied, allowing one party an unfair advantage of holding events and rallies, while opposing parties and civil society groups are not granted the same, that is a restriction on freedom of speech. Now, at the same time, these freedoms must be used responsibly. Social media is an important part of our lives today. It can be used in 1,000 different ways, both good and bad. We, of course, should strive to ensure that social media is not used to distribute hate speech or misogynistic speech. But when discussing the regulation of social media, it's important not to outlaw or prohibit fair comment and criticism of public officials. Respectful and peaceful debate and disagreement are essential parts of freedom of speech, our most precious right.
In other news, Senior Chief Giganta of Kalomo District in Southern Province has called on political party cadres to respect divergent views from opponents. Speaking when Minister of National Religious Affairs, Godfrida Sumaili, paid a courtesy call on him at his palace yesterday, Chief Giganta said it is important for all political players to maintain peace at all times. Chief Giganta urged politicians not to only argue in Parliament, but also exchange visits and share ideas on how best they can serve the people. And Minister of Guidance and Religious Affairs, Godfrida Sumaili, says she is in Southern Province to have a candid conversation with traditional leaders on matters of national development. Reverend Sumaili says traditional leaders are an important part of national development. She has therefore called for peace countrywide to ensure meaningful development is attained.
I am in the province, Southern Province, to confer with the traditional leaders, our Royal Highnesses, and also the church leaders on important national issues. We acknowledge the role that our traditional leaders play in terms of leading the people, guiding the people, and also the church leaders, the important role that they play in our communities, providing spiritual counsel and also guiding the people. So the traditional leaders and the church leaders have to work very closely with the government. And that's why I'm here for us to begin to talk about the values, both the traditional and cultural values, which are so critical. We have a rich cultural heritage, the Christian values, but also the values that are in the Constitution. So we are talking about the issues of national unity, patriotism, and also the issue of human dignity and the importance of us as a nation really embracing these values, which are so critical to national development. But also, when we embrace these values, we shall see peace in our nation. And that's why we are talking together. We want to see how we can promote the unity which the nation needs so much.
Government has called on the church to continue standing on the truth to help change the profile of society and unite the country. Speaking in Dola Saturday afternoon at Levi Mwanawasa Stadium during the ordination of SDA pastors, ministers of tourism and arts, Ronald Chitotela said government and the church have the same purpose of serving humanity. Mr. Chitotela says government appreciates effort by the church to uplift livelihoods in communities through education and health services that the church provides as it supplements government effort in taking education and health services closer to the people. He further says he has further called upon the church to bring unity to the country, as there will be no tribal groupings in heaven, but all that will only be served. He said the church should not allow groupings, but instead unite the country. This is Camnet News. We take another break. Join me for international and sports news.
You know I can take her a break.
Yes, my dear.
I was thinking of getting you a Bugatti on your birthday.
Really?
I'm quiet. My name is Yana.
Don't worry, man. That's why there is insurance.
Insurance?
You heard me.
Not just any kind of insurance, but Savenda General Insurance, a company that offers superior customer service, highly professional and dedicated staff. We are not just any insurance company, but an insurance company that actually pays our claims. We cover, among others, fire, marine, aviation, engineering, agriculture, motor vehicle, and miscellaneous insurance. So, live life to the full, knowing that Savenda General Insurance has got you covered. Savenda General Insurance. Insurance excellence.
Lusaka is here. We have you all covered with just 150 kwacha. You can advertise every day from 17 hours to 18 hours. For a 30-second ad, get the benefit of selling your products and services on Lusaka. For more details, call our marketing department on +260 953 995099 +260 962 444 726 or +260 971 177 467. Email us on info@camnettvafrica.com. Terms and conditions apply.
We now look at international news. 5 people were killed in a siege at a church in South Africa on Saturday, police have said. 30 suspects were detained, they said in a Twitter post, and more than 25 firearms seized in connection with the siege at the International Pentecostal Holiness Church in Zubecom, northwest of Pretoria. It was not immediately clear whether hostages or the attackers were killed or how they died. Police were alerted to the situation in the early hours of Saturday morning, and the hostage negotiators took part of the response. And in more international news, hundreds tried to storm Serbian parliament as protests heat up. Protests in Serbia's capital, Belgrade, have attempted to storm parliament amid growing anger against the government. Police were pelted with flares and rocks on the 4th night of the protest. We monitored Al Jazeera for this.
This is backlash against restrictions to stop coronavirus in Serbia. Police and the parliament building on the receiving end of frustrations. The protests began on Tuesday, sparked by a proposed weekend shutdown of Belgrade. People complained it threatened their jobs and businesses. The proposal was dropped, but protests have morphed into wider anger with President Aleksandar Vučić.
I came here to stand for the rights that are based on the Constitution, but the President is denying that to us.
The majority of protesters are peaceful. Scenes like this have spread across Serbia this week. Many blame government decisions to allow soccer games, religious celebrations, parties and parliamentary elections for a second wave of infections.
I think the people who gathered didn't have many chances to talk seriously about what comes next and to say what brought us to the streets. There is a lot of anger.
Serbia has recorded nearly 18,000 COVID-19 infections and 370 deaths. Friday saw the highest daily jump in 3 months, with 386 cases and 18 deaths. Belgrade's hospitals are almost full. The government blaming this week's protests for the spike in numbers as people defied a ban on mass gatherings.
There will be time for protests as soon as we see that the numbers of infected are under control. But believe me, our health system will see a great number of these people who protested, they and their parents, receiving hospital treatment.
Serbia's president denies new restrictions were introduced to help him gain power. He's blaming the opposition for the demonstrations. In Paris for diplomatic talks, he said,
I beg people, please let's keep our health safe. Nobody is going to take power by force. Power is taken at the elections. You can protest as much as you want when the epidemic is over. If you don't understand this and you want to bring some tycoons to power, let me tell you, this is not going to happen.
Protests that started over coronavirus restrictions are now about the president's leadership as a whole. These people convinced it's not their health that's a concern, but the health of Serbia's democracy. Charlotte Ballas, Al Jazeera.
We now look at sports news. 2010 World Cup organizing chief Danny Jordan says South Africa's staging of the tournament effectively took world football knee off Africa's neck. Jordan, CEO of 2010 local organizing committee, was talking ahead of Saturday's 10-year anniversary of the final at Johannesburg Soccer City as Spain beat the Netherlands 1-0. He admits that then FIFA president Sepp Blatter's decision to rotate the World Cup hosting rights among the different continental governing bodies was key to the change in attitude. Either side of the rotation system, which resulted in South Africa winning the right of the stage the 2010 finals in May 2004, African nations have lost every bid to host the showpiece event. Now he says it is an open competition again. He believes the Black Lives Matter protests that have followed the death of George Floyd in Minneapolis in May have also helped on how Africa is perceived around the world. Well, that item brings us to the end of our news. Just now, we look at the headlines before we go. Respectful debate essential for advancing democracy. USA and Chinese investors lock up Zambian workers for fear of bringing COVID-19 to the plant. Nakes refutes claims of suggesting closure of all schools. In international news, 5 killed in siege at South African church. In sports news, Jordan 2010 took World Cup football's knee off Africa's neck. We now look at the Camnet verse for the day, and it's coming from Isaiah 66, verse 1, and it reads, "Thus says the Lord, the heaven is my throne, and the earth is my footstool. Where is the house that ye built unto me? And where is the place of my rest?" That's all we could accommodate for you on the news desk. Remember to mask up, sanitize your hands and wash them as often as possible, as well as maintaining a social distancing of at least 100 meters to prevent the spread of COVID-19. My name is Sharon Kalimbula. Thank you so much for staying with us. Keep watching.